midnight hour has approached, Nightlings. Welcome to episode 42 of the Horror Headquarters. I'm just so beyond excited to have you guys listening today. Sorry, I have had a really crazy past 2 weeks. I'm just like coming back from Salem and like readjusting back to Michigan life has been crazy, and like now I'm out of college, so trying to keep myself busy as much as possible. Of course, I'm working on my short film that I'm literally so proud of how well it's coming together, as well as a book that I'm writing. So just keeping myself busy, looking for things to keep me active and not sitting at home like people assume we do, when we're out of college, because that's not me. Sorry, that's not me. But anyways, I am really excited about today's episode. If you guys are just joining in, I hope you enjoyed this episode and decide to hit that follow button and rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're returning, I really do appreciate your guys' support. I am literally in my favorite t-shirt of all time, the Horror Headquarters t-shirt. If you have not ordered yours yet, the link is right below in the description. It is extremely comfy, and I promise you it'll ship very early. And to the first 5 people that order after hearing this episode, I'll be writing a dedicated letter to you. So there's an incentive, and I will of course be shouting you out. Are you guys crazy? Like, it really does mean a lot when you guys support this podcast. So just let me know, and feel free to screenshot a review you guys leave on this podcast. So yeah, let's dive right into today's episode. And I have got a lot to unfold, so buckle up and get ready. This one's going to be a very personal one. Now, for the past couple months, I have been seeing tiny signs of what I thought was my guardian angel watching over me. And I still think it is in a way, but I think it's kind of evolved in a way. Now, to give some context, I've been seeing butterflies, I've been seeing black cats, I've been hearing owls at all times of the day. And I think the biggest things are the cats and the butterflies, because when I tell you I have never been in contact with this many butterflies and cats in my life, it's kind of crazy. Now, you guys might think it's a coincidence, but I personally don't, and I'm going to explain why. And let's start with the black cats. Now, I've been seeing black cats my whole life, and I personally look at them as good luck. I don't look at them as bad luck or a bad omen. Um, Even in like witch culture, they're associated with good omens. So I'm kind of leaning towards that definition of them, because every time I do see a black cat, I think of it as protection. It's trying to warn me of something or remind me to continuously protect myself from evil in this world, whether that be someone negative, whether that be someone that's filled with rage, someone that wants to see your downfall, or just prepping me for something that's gonna affect me in a certain way, whether physical or emotionally. Now, to start, 2 weeks ago, immediately after coming back from Salem, there were 2 black cats waiting at the front porch of my house the day after I came back. And I stared at them and I like tried to getting them to come towards me, and they went completely separate ways, and I was confused as to why that was happening. The same day, me and one of my friends I have known for a very long time went our separate ways. And it was kind of a mutual agreement in a way, because we really weren't spending as much time with each other, and they were spending more time with a specific person instead of me. So I messaged him, I'm like, you're not going to commit to me, then this is just going to work. And then I thought about those 2 black cats. So I'm like, oh my god, they went 2 separate ways. Like, that's insane to me. And you cannot tell me that's a coincidence. And it's kind of still dragging on me in a way, because I really cared a lot for this person. Now, obviously, we're still acquaintances, but we're just not as close as we used to be, but we had an open, honest conversation. So that's one. Now, another one that's a little bit more creepy is I saw a black cat and a white cat. like a week ago. I'm gonna say a week ago or like 5 days ago. It was end of May, excuse me. And I was walking out and I was going to my car and they didn't move. They were just sitting there. It was a white cat and a black cat and they didn't move at all. And I drove off and it's honestly really sad to talk about, but I ended up getting on like one of the main roads and my steering wheel locked in my car and I almost died. And I wish I was joking, but I had a car in front of me and I had a car behind me and I was going 45 miles per hour and the brake was working, obviously, thank God, at this time, but my steering wheel wasn't and it was a red light. So I braked extremely hard and I put my emergency lights on and I forcibly turned the wheel, as dangerous as it is to do that when your steering wheel locks, because that can break it and cause the car to go out of control, and turned into a neighborhood the best I could into incoming traffic. And I had a semi breakdown because of how close I was to another near-death experience, being that this wasn't the first time this has happened, but this one was less severe compared to other ones. But then I recalled the cats I just saw outside, and I did a little bit of reflection on why there was a white cat and a black cat, and if there was any significance between seeing both of them at the same time. And I look at them as kind of good and evil going against each other, and just there's a good and evil in every situation. I guess in this case, the evil was that I lost my car and I almost died, and I had to get it fixed. The good was the mechanic that fixed my car said that I was very, very lucky because there was some kind of gap in the steering wheel that caused it to lock, and it's been happening for a long time, and it was previously addressed, but we had nothing done about it. So I guess that's the significance of the white cat if I look at it in that context, but it's kind of scary because he told me, he's like, you were really lucky because this could have went a lot worse. I'm like, oh, great. So I just look at, these cats as a sign that something's coming and I have to prepare for it, even though I don't know what it is. So fast forward to today. I saw a black cat. And this was probably 2 p.m. today, which today is June 4th. So I saw it June 4th, 2 p.m. And I went to help one of my brothers, or my only brother, excuse me, with picking up a wardrobe or like a dresser. And I saw a black cat. I didn't say anything. It was across the street and it was staring at me. I was like kind of freaked out, but I'm like, okay, maybe it's good luck. So I went to pick up this wardrobe. I literally saw my life flash from my eyes in a very overly dramatic way because the wardrobe was so freaking heavy and the guy that was giving it to us would not help us. He was literally just standing there watching me suffer, and then something like popped. It didn't crack, but something popped in my left shoulder and it killed so much, and I like couldn't even get words out of my mouth, like telling my brother, I'm like, we need to put this on, like I can't do this. As soon as that happened, the guy came over and helped out. I could not feel my fingertips of my right hand, and then my whole left shoulder was like numb and it was in so much pain. And I started getting flashbacks to when I had really, really, really bad back issues to the point where I couldn't even walk. And I had to immediately ground myself and relax. And I immediately got a glimpse of that black cat again. You know why? Because I look out in the neighborhood and there's another black cat looking at me. And I'm like, oh God, you gotta be kidding me. So like, that was kind of the aha moment of like, okay, no, it's not a coincidence. These are all happening for a reason. And I kind of have to pay attention to these signs more. I have to go with my intuition a lot more because that's something I've been ignoring, which I do not recommend to anyone out there. If you have a gut feeling or something telling you not to do something, go somewhere, attend something, do not do it. Trust me. As much as you might think, oh, maybe it's just a coincidence, maybe it's just nerves, no. Do not do it. So I promise you, it is so not worth it. And it's honestly scary. And it just shows you that you should never go against your intuition, what your body's telling you. And you should learn to be intuitive with your body and with the signs that it's giving you, because that's something I continuously am teaching myself and learning through these experiences. Okay, now the other animal being the butterfly. Now this one's a little bit more positive, don't worry. So, butterflies have always been a part of my life, and I think of them as a sign of reincarnation to me, honestly, and a sign of change, and just something watching over me and telling me that good news is coming. And most of them have come true. So, for example, when I was in Salem, I saw this gorgeous, gorgeous blue-tailed butterfly, and it just drifted right over my head, and then it circled me twice, and then it flew away. And it was as I was walking towards a tarot shop to pick my favorite tarot card set. And I finally ended up finding one, and I ended up finding that dream book that I showed you guys in a couple vlogs ago in an episode that I did when I was in Salem. So that for me just showed that that was the reason why the butterfly appeared. And I just love when butterflies appear. If I have to be honest, sometimes they frighten me because they literally come out of nowhere. And I'm gonna jump a little bit because I have to talk about today. Because today, while I was driving, a butterfly flew into my window, like into my passenger window, and it like hit me in the face. And I was like, ah! And I was like, what the heck is going on with these butterflies? And it ended up staying in the back seat of my car. So I had to pull over, stop, and as soon as I stopped the car, it flew out. And I'm like, this has to mean something. So this is actually something that I don't know what the meaning of it was, but I'm excited to see what its significance was because the day still isn't over. So I will update you guys on Instagram at the Hardquarters if something ends up coming of this, but it honestly could be a sign of change because I am looking for a full-time job, being that I graduated, and I'm like praying I get a job in a lab because I love working hands-on, or just an acting job in general, just something to keep me busy again, as I said in the beginning. So we'll see what the significance of that is, but honestly, butterflies have been a part of my life for very long, and I love being blessed by their presence because they bring me a lot of light and positivity, and in a way they remind me of my late grandpa, who I miss a lot. And more often than not, when I have dreams about him, a butterfly or a bird is present, and it makes me really happy and it makes me smile. Another thing that I see as a sign, of course, are owls. Now, this is a very controversial topic because in my religion, owls are looked at as bad luck, as bad omen, but I think it's because either someone's talking about me behind my back and it's like a messenger to me, or it's the owl telling me that I'm growing in wisdom and that something good is coming, and I just have to be patient. Now, I wouldn't know it exactly, but I know that in my culture, a lot of times if you hear an owl, they're whispering death to you. I personally don't think of it that way. I think it's trying to tell me that someone's talking about me, someone that I don't like is kind of either jealous of me or is talking badly about me. Now, besides the old coincidence that, like, if your left ear rings, someone's talking about you, I 100% believe in that. And if you hear a ringing in your right ear, someone talking highly of you. Whenever I hear an owl, my left ear rings. So I put one and one together, and it makes two. So that's my personal view of owls. If you guys have a different view of owls, please let me know in the comments below because there's such interesting animals, and it's weird because I never see them, and I think that's also a sign of like someone's talking about me, but I don't know who it is, so I kind of have to either meditate on it or completely ignore it because it's not really not worth my energy. And that goes to anyone else out there. If you know someone, whether it's in your family, what, no matter how close, or a friend, I promise you it's not worth your energy to try getting this up because people are going to talk about you till the day you die, even past your grave. They're going to continuously talk shit about you and try to put you down and put hexes on you. You have to surround yourself with positive energy. You have to do prayers and know that you are protected at all times. And I always carry around the evil eye with me personally, or I wear my Twitches necklace. Literally, one of the reasons why I like having my Twitches necklace with me at all times is because it makes me feel protected from bad energy. It makes me feel like I have an aura around me that doesn't allow negative energy to come in. Because anytime I've worn it, I feel a lot more protected than when I'm not wearing it. So I think I have to wear it a lot more often than I already do, because sometimes I do take it off because the chain does get caught in my hair sometimes. But I could just change the chain. It's like not a life altering decision I have to make, but just having something with you to protect you at times like that is important. And if you feel like you're being watched, or you feel like you have bad energy surrounding you, or you're somewhere you don't want to be, try to leave as much as possible, or work on getting crystals for yourself, because I found that crystals help a lot too. When I was in Salem, I got a bunch of crystals and they all called to me, and ever since I got them, they've been opening up a bunch of doors for me, which I will talk about in a different episode. But I think it's very important, again, to listen to your body, listen to what your brain is telling you, what your heart is telling you, because you don't want to ignore these signs. It's kind of like what this episode is like leaning towards. It's just trusting your gut, knowing right from wrong, and not questioning your intuition. And if you see something, you can be superstitious, but to an extent. It's not like, oh my god, I see a black cat, I'm gonna get possessed, or oh my god, I see an owl, someone's talking horribly of me and they're wishing death upon me, and I'm gonna get run over by a car. No, not that intense. You have to put it into perception of your life, of what's going on in your life at that moment, or it could be reminding you of your past. You just have to look at it through a wide lens and not a narrow lens. Now, I've been looking at it through multiple different ways, just like with black cats, butterflies, and owls. I don't look at all of them through good, bad omen, whatever. It all depends on what my intuition tells me. Sorry, I had to take like humongous breath for some reason at that moment. Oh my god. I got like the like coldest blow of air over my right shoulder. I really hope that's not a bad thing. And also, one of my shade things to pull the shade up is moving on its own right now as I'm recording this episode, and my fan is off. I love that. That's really freaking creepy. And it is still okay, it stopped. Window of opportunity. See, I actually have an episode called that, Window of Opportunity, and there was oh my god. I have an episode, you guys, a podcast episode called A Window, or The Window of Opportunity, and there was a cat in the picture looking out a window. You can't tell me that's a coincidence that shit just happened right now. Like, that's so creepy. Oh my god. Time for another podcast episode. Now, I personally would love to hear your guys' experience with animals, whether spiritual or not, or just any superstitions that you think are telling you something, or reminding you of a deceased person that you love that has passed, and they're trying to send you a message in a way. Or maybe you're not all about that. Maybe you're like, oh, that's all bullshit, it's all coincidence. If you are that way, I don't know why you're listening to this podcast. No, I'm just joking. Honestly, I welcome everyone. If they're interested in the subject in any way and they're trying to widen their horizons on this specific subject about superstitions, intuition, and science from the universe about your life and about your surroundings, your environment. So, if you are, welcome in. If you are not new to this kind of stuff, I hope you guys enjoyed this little talk, this little debacle that I discussed, because this was something really personal and like hesitant. I was like hesitant to discuss it because a lot of people look at me as freaks when I'm like, oh my god, this happened and then this happened. And like, oh come on, you're so full of it. I'm like, you guys don't understand. When I was in Salem, like I explained this kind of stuff to people and they made connections similar to mine. And that's literally my people. I miss Salem so much. Shout out to Salem, to my Salem peeps listening, and to anyone else out there that is very intuitive or is trying to get intuitive with their body, with their mind, with their soul, trying to connect with the universe. But regardless, sending you guys positive energy. I'm like taking a lot of deep breaths in this episode, which I usually don't do, and it's like making me a little bit hesitant. But there's one more thing I have to say before this episode ends because it happened literally right before I started recording this. So I need you guys to listen to this. Alright, now I believe it was the last episode that I discussed this more in detail, but wow. Sorry, this is like really scary to even be discussing, but when I discussed that one night in Salem that I had at the Hawthorne Hotel where saw someone waving at me from the bathroom, and I told you I would do some meditation on it. I just get chills talking about it, guys. Like, it's so scary. Right before I started recording this episode, like prepping my equipment, getting situated, putting on my horror headquarters t-shirt, I decided to do some meditation on it because I was actually going to discuss that as part of today, but I'm just going to give you a glimpse into what's to come because this is something I still have to meditate on more and it's really creepy. So I was sitting down at my desk like I am right now. All the lights were off and I cleared my mind and I started meditating on that moment to like see what was happening, just to put myself back in that situation, but also imagining like an aura of light around me of like praying, doing a prayer right before I did it. It's not like I was contacting the dead or anything like that, because that's really dangerous and you need a lot of skill for that. But I closed my eyes, I meditated on it, I was recalling the moment, and was just trying to figure out what it was, trying to put myself in the perspective of if I was in the bathroom seeing this happen. And after about 5 minutes of closing my eyes and meditating on it, I saw someone, I think it's a male, but it wasn't human. It had spikes on its like skin, like really pointy parts everywhere. Its eyes were white, like lights, like it was white, and it had like a slight smile. Wow, and it's just creepy to be talking about. And then I took out my ghost detector on my iPhone, which you guys are probably gonna think are bullshit, but I have tested it, and it has worked before. It senses electromagnetic waves. It's an app that senses it, and I've tested it because if you like put it next to a computer, it's obviously gonna go like crazy. But I just had it in the center of my room, and it was like going off like crazy as soon as I like opened my eyes. And I was scared to go in my closet, and I'm like still scared to look back there because I'm afraid that thing is gonna come back. So I just wanted to give you a glimpse about that and tell you what I saw and what I experienced because it was horrifying. And right before I pressed play on like the first part of this episode, I felt something touch the left part of my wrist. And I'm not bullshitting you guys. I'm not lying. I would not lie to you because there really is no point in me lying about this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm like really creeped out. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. I keep saying so, I'm sorry. Well, we'll see if I get an episode written down for that kind of stuff, and then I'll discuss it more in depth. And I might do some more meditation on this, more insight on what happened. It reminds me a lot of the movie Insidious because I'm like putting myself in a situation and I just have to be more cautious, which is what I'm gonna do the next time I do this. Obviously, like I said, I did a prayer, but just letting you guys know about that, and that is not bullshit at all. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We have reached our destination, Nightlings. Midnight hour is over. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. And if you made it this far, I literally love you guys so much. I'm so grateful for this podcast. I literally want to do it for the rest of my life when I'm like 120. I still want to be doing this because this is my passion project, as I've said in multiple previous episodes, and I really enjoy doing it. Make sure to follow us or follow me on Instagram at the Horror Headquarters. Feel free to send me a DM asking me any questions about horror, about any horror movie recommendations you guys want to see me watch, because there is a bunch on my list that I'm going to be watching, and I can't wait, you guys. I can't wait. There's some really good ones that recently came out that I need to check out. But just letting you guys know all that. And I'm also on Twitter at the Horror HQ, on TikTok at the Horror Headquarters. I'm like blinking for some reason. My like brain is still on the fact that I saw someone waving at me in Salem. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am forever grateful. Make sure to get your merch, the horror headquarters t-shirt. Oh my god, what just happened? The horror headquarters t-shirt. It's all in the description below. And if you guys message me with a screenshot of a rating that you did for the podcast, whether on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, I will send you a discount code to get the shirt for cheaper. And I will be putting a very special message inside of it. I keep having lips right now, and that's not a good sign. So I'm gonna log off for now. But again, thank you guys so much for the support. I really do appreciate it, and there's so much to come, as I've been saying, and I've been showing you guys that there's a lot to come. But just get ready, and yeah, tread very lightly and pray for forgiveness, because midnight hour it's approaching.